On today's show, we're going to be talking about ending spousal clawbacks in British Columbia for PWD. So stay tuned. Why would there be a clawback, in place, in the first place? Well, we're going to be talking about that with my guest coming up next, clawbacks, pink unicorns. I don't like clawbacks. I think all clawbacks should be ended, but we'll be talking about that next. Stay tuned, everyone. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frayne. I'm the host, and I'm broadcasting to you from Victoria, British Columbia. A little bit overcast today. It's a little bit cooler out today. It's definitely fall weather. Not freezing, but compared to other areas of the country. And also joining me is Neil Matheson from Surrey, British Columbia. How is it out in your area, Neil?
It's a gloomy day.
Kind of a gloomy day. And also joining me today is Jeff Leggat from Disability Action of Canada. And thank you, Jeff, for joining me today. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good, Brent. Thank you so much.
Yeah. How's it out in your neck of the neighborhood?
Cold. It was rainy and chilly. 2 degrees and raining. Ugh, not good.
Ooh, yeah.
Not good.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. And today we're going to be talking about spousal clawbacks in British Columbia for persons with disabilities, ending clawbacks. Definitely, it is a hot topic, and we're going to dive right into it right now. So over to you, Jeff. Actually, I'll hand the mic to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Brent. I just want to touch base on this. Brent and I and Sonia were invited to do the press conference with Minister Malcolmson and who else was up there? The Green Party,
Rob Bottrell.
Rob Botterill and a few other people up in Nanaimo last week to make the big announcement that they will be removing the spousal clawback. So I'm gonna have to get some knowledge on this because it was presented as a person on disability in a relationship with another person on disability will no longer be viewed as a couple and given less amount of money. They'll be viewed as individuals and given more amount of money.
Mm,
So, and this was something we've been fighting for because for the last six,
yeah,
7 years, we've
yeah,
been doing this because when you're so far below poverty level in the first place, if you're in a relationship and you get less money, that means you get less food. You have to go without. You get less proper shelter. You get less everything in life. So our big thing, and also it puts you at risk of being in a negative relationship and not having the financial resources to remove yourself from a negative situation.
mm,
So that has always been in our fight dialogue. We need to treat each and every disabled person as an individual and support them as an individual, regardless of their status. We don't want to have to put the financial responsibility on another person. So that's what I was under the understanding that I never even thought about the shelter portion, but I just understood that they're
Yeah,
saying,
because that's the sticky part, isn't it, Brent? So we, we
mhm,
can we can get into it. It was a
yeah,
bit of a bait and switch what happened, and I mean, I actually really respect Sheila Malcolmson a lot. We're not gonna be throwing her under the bus at all,
yeah,
but
yeah.
basically
mhm,
when she said that she's ending the spousal clawback or the spousal cap, it's not really that. She should have used different language
mhm,
because
mhm,
it
mhm,
wasn't actually ending the spousal cap. The spousal cap is actually still in effect. The only thing that's happened is that the only equalization of payments that's happened is to do with the support portion, right?
Oh, yes.
It's only the support portion, and the shelter portion is unaffected. It's the same stupid system like, for example, the way it was originally the way it was originally kind of packaged or introduced, and like I was victim of it, and I'm sure you were too, Jeff, was that this whole thing was going to be basically that two people that were together were going to get their full check. So it was going to be their full check times 2, right? Which so that would include your shelter and your support portion. So so basically you're talking if it was a real support if it was a real
game changer.
2 checks independently of autonomy of two checks times 2, that would have been $1483.50 times 2, right?
Yes.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not what happened. So maybe we'll get into that, Brent.
Yeah, I have a short audio clip. Actually, it's about a 7-minute audio clip. If you both don't mind, it was from the On the Coast. It's a show on the coast from CBC News with Gloria Macarenko on November 18th. So now that was 2 days before we met with Minister Malcolmson. Now there's 2 advocates from BC. They basically say that it makes changes to the disability payments. Advocates say it's not enough. Now you'll get the idea listening to the little audio clip. I think it's probably very important for our listeners and viewers to kind of get some context out of this from lived experience and from one of the advocates. And then I'll get your take on this, Jeff, right after it. And so here we go. I will play it here. Hopefully the audio comes through nice and clear. Okay, here we go.
The BC government says they are making major changes to disability assistance. Starting next month, couples where both people receive disability payments will receive the same allowance as if they were single. Then starting next year, in couples where only one person has the Persons with Disabilities designation, they should get an increased annual earning exemption. But the way the payments are calculated is complicated, and we have 2 guests to address this with us today. Jessica Gordon is a person living with a disability, and we spoke with her about the spousal cap last year. Hello, Jessica, and welcome back to On the Coast.
Thank you very much.
Also with us is Spencer Van Vloten, a longtime community advocate and the editor of bcdisability.com. Spencer, good afternoon to you.
Gloria, nice to be here.
Now, Jessica, let's circle back with you, and I'm glad you were able to join us again today. What exactly do these new changes, what do they mean to disability payments?
It amounts to not very much. The wording when it comes to disability assistance is a little bit confusing. Disability assistance is broken down into 2 parts. There's your support allowance and your shelter allowance. Shelter allowance being for your shelter, like your rent or whatnot. But support allowance kind of sounds like what you would call the entire disability payment. So that's the only things that is changing for 2 people that are both on disability.
Okay,
but shelter allowance stays the same.
Well, how do you feel about the changes?
So mad. Mad because of how they're presenting this. They're presenting it as though they ended spousal clawbacks, when really they just made a minute change. Like for the situation I just described with 2 people on disability assistance, it amounts to $113.50, I think, per month more that they'll be getting between the 2 of them.
Oh. Ooh.
That's hardly ending the clawback. They're still $305 short of what they would get if they were 2 individual people living separately.
$113 more for 2 people. That's between two people.
$56.75 per person.
Now, Spencer, what went through your mind when you heard about these changes?
Appointment, because these changes were the promise to remove the spousal clawbacks was promised over a year ago. They had mostly been silent since that time, and there's a lot of people who were hopeful that they were working on it and something very beneficial would be coming. But these changes, they first of all, as Jessica mentioned, they're very limited in what they change, and also very limited in who they impact. I mean, it's good that there's some improvement for couples that are both on PWD, but the vast majority of people who are impacted by these spousal clawbacks will not have any benefit from this at all. Most of them will still be either unable to get assistance in the first place, or they'll have to be hiding their relationships, or not moving in as a couple. And so it's one of those situations where, okay, they took sort of half a step forward, but we need a mile to go.
I would call it a quarter step, not a half step.
It's leading and not entirely accurate for the government to come out and claim that they've delivered on the commitment they made last year.
Okay, well, let's hear more about that from you, Jessica. Misleading, says Spencer. There certainly has been some confusion around these changes. What would you like to clarify in response to some messaging and misinformation out there?
Yeah, a lot of it does come down to that shelter allowance and support allowance thing, because most people don't understand the ins and outs of the specifics in disability assistance, and they're just going to hear shelter or support allowance, and they're going to think that's what people on disability get per month, a support payment or what have you. So there's all sorts of news articles coming out right now saying that they have ended the spousal clawbacks, they've eliminated wording like that, because they're using their own words to interpret what they've seen in this news release. But the news release was very carefully worded, so that it doesn't really describe exactly. A lot of people did go in and look at the math at the bottom of the news release and go, that doesn't add up to if you doubled the amount for a single person.
Yeah, 500.
But most people aren't going to make it that far reading a news release. They're just going to read, the first paragraph, the headline,
$695,
stuff like that.
1,000, yeah.
And they're not going to understand how little of an impact this is. And the other thing that they did was they increased the annual earnings exemption for couples where only one has the PWD designation, but it's $24,800 will be the new exemption limit. So that's the amount
less the minimum wage
earn collectively between both of them before the person with disabilities payments are clawed back.
Okay, now Spencer, what does all this mean? I mean, what are some of the ways that people are affected by these spousal caps and just the way disability payments are calculated?
Well, just to give perspective, basically, if someone with a disability has a partner who makes basically a minimum wage income, that will be considered too much for them to keep their eligibility for and their full payment for their disability assistance. So in the government's eyes, the person who could make as little as minimum wage is supposed to be a financial caretaker for the person with the disability. So what this means, because the policy changes did not remove that spousal clawback, you're still going to have, thousands of people throughout the province who aren't getting the disability assistance that they need, or you're going to be having people who are currently on disability assistance who have to continue hiding their relationships.
Hiding the relationships. Yeah.
Not moving in with the partner, trying to keep it, secret on the down low because they don't want that money that they desperately need clawed back. Another dynamic is that people with people who choose to enter relationships and decide to forego disability assistance because the spousal cap makes them ineligible, well then, because they're now financially dependent on their partner, there's been situations where those relationships have turned sour and the partner has been abusive. And because the person has no income of their own, they don't get any financial assistance, they're really totally dependent on this person financially, and they have to stay in a relationship as a result. And it's just so out of touch with the economic realities facing people these days, that in BC, two-person incomes are really needed to stay afloat, and these changes really still don't allow many people with disabilities to live to get those two incomes.
Now, Jessica, maybe I hear from each of you. Just what would you like to see happen next? Jessica, we'll start with you.
I would like to see, honestly, I would like to see Sheila Malcolmson confronted about this and see what she has to say about why she made these decisions versus actually ending the spousal cap and the spousal clawbacks. Ideally, I would like that to happen, that people with disabilities can be in a relationship, enter a relationship. Their relationship should not matter at all.
Bingo.
In regard to their disability assistance.
Relationship should not matter at all.
It's just so far from how the world works now. It's so outdated.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people lived on single income housing in like the 50s, but nowadays you can't really do that.
Exactly.
Okay, now Spencer, you've heard Jessica. She says we've got to confront the minister and put this to
we're almost
her.
done here, Jeff. And you can pipe in.
Happen next.
Absolutely. I want to see government stand up and be bold, and instead of taking this half step forward, take those necessary steps forward to deliver the changes that people with disabilities need. And those changes are, can the spousal cap so that people with disabilities, whether it's two people with disabilities or one partner has it and the other doesn't, but so they can both have an income, increase the assistance rates so they're not like $10,000 a year below the poverty line.
Which is something you always talk about, Jeff.
No.
And it prevents them from, being able to accomplish their dreams, being able to live in good health, and so many other things.
Yeah.
Jessica Gordon.
I think that's it.
And
Brent, basically.
we're talking to her about the spousal cap.
So that's so that was the interview that took place on the November 18th with Jessica and Spencer. Of course, the follow-up was with Sheila Malcolmson from Gloria.
No, we don't need to play all of that.
Yeah,
I'll listen to that later. Did she address the?
She did address it, it's.
But again, when Sheila was talking about it, she said, well, of course, all along I was talking about the support portion.
Yeah.
And really, to my mind, she wasn't. Like when it was first introduced, she kind of the messaging was we're going to two people that are a couple get to keep all of their check, the entirety of their check. That was what I took away from it, right? So,
yeah, that's what I took away from it too.
Yeah,
So it's a 7-minute clip.
I'll
listen to that later.
Let's not play that, Brent. But basically, the takeaway of this whole thing, though, is that instead of actually doubling, so like if we take you and Sonia as an example, Brent, so you'd have a doubling of the checks, which would be $1,483.50 times 2.
Yeah, say 29.
But that like a little bit less than $3,000. But that's not what happens. That's not what happened. What actually happens is you only get a bump up of the support portion a little bit. It was $56.75 per person, which is not nothing. like let's say it's not nothing, but unfortunately the support portion is not affected. So instead of the support portion being doubled, which should have been 500 times 2, which is the 1,000, you're still stuck at $695.
Yeah,
for the shelter.
Yeah.
So they still view disabled people in relationships as dependent on one another in under the cap of shelter.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But not under the cap of.
So they so they actually
that-
didn't remove the spousal cap. So they really so it's kind of like Sheila Malcolmson, and like God bless her, right? I mean, I don't want to throw her under the bus. I don't. But she really should have used different language and said we're actually not getting rid of the spousal cap, but I am giving a little bit of a bump up of the support portion. She should have been very clear about that at the beginning, and she really wasn't. Like all the messaging from the press release thing that you went to, Jeff, and that you went to, Brent, was all we're ending the spousal clawback, which is not true. The spousal cap is still in effect. Unfortunately, it's still in effect. Unfortunately.
So I got how I'm looking at it is the support in traditionally before it would be like 2 PWD, 1 file, and so that they would be not 2 full PWD support. So they kind of what they've done is they give back majority of the support, but not all of it, and then left a spousal cap in for the shelter portion at $695 rather than 2 500s. So that's $305 and a little bit for support.
Okay, so this is something we can push back with the Greens and the and Sheila's office, but most importantly, we can push back with David Eby and Brenda Bailey.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I'm not going to diminish Sheila. Her office is doing great, good work in details and the little stuff. But the purse strings are held by Brenda Bailey and David Eby.
Yes.
Disability minister can't do anything without financial authority. So that's good that we clarify this, because even the second part, when they were talking about if a person with disabilities in a relationship with a non-diverse ability person, their earnings exemption gets put up to 24,000. I was under the assumption, silly me, that was based on their earnings.
Me too.
Individual,
Me too.
disabled person's earnings.
Exactly.
They can earn more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're still funded well below poverty level.
Right.
We're gonna put that cap up a little more. We'll get you working, and the partner's income has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That's what my assumption is, and it's not that way at all. It's the partners.
Yeah.
That's not right at all.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's very misleading. Like it's like a splashy, one of those splashy announcement. We've done this, but the devil's in the detail.
And so when they actually said we're ending the spousal cap, I mean they clearly did not do that.
Clawback.
They did not do that.
Clawback.
So
they did it on one part, but it's kind of like the same when they added they increased the shelter portion, but only for certain people.
Yeah.
See, remember that big announcement where we're increasing the shelter portion 125 or whatever the hell it was?
Yeah.
But they only did that for people who actually have shelter.
Yeah, in market housing.
People who are still homeless and disabled, they don't get anything. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're very good at this beautiful shell game, which is sad because I was under the assumption that 2 people would now get $14.83 each.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Which is more appropriate for the world in which we live.
I think everybody thought that.
Which is still well below poverty level, but at least it gives them a bit of to cover $1,000 for a 1-bedroom is way easier with $695. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
$695, that could be food for 2 weeks.
$305 right there. I mean,
exactly.
And like some of my neighbors thought the same thing after hearing that. Like, oh, so 2 individual PWDs are going to be treated as individuals and 2 full checks. And I mean, I took it too.
And that would be proper because that's proper autonomy, right? That's proper autonomy.
Yeah, that is.
But
we're gonna have a chat with the other MP that was there as well, because she was all for it based on gender equality, I think it was.
Mhm.
And giving people their autonomy to be
Mhm.
able to leave negative relationships. And if it doesn't actually do that, then we got to really go back to the drawing board kind of
people will
deal.
still have to
Yeah.
hide the relationships. People will
Yeah,
still have
I
to
would
hide the
still
relationships.
encourage people to hide their relationships. I really
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
I mean, if when you're getting less than bare minimum,
Mhm.
white lies will keep you alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
especially when they're
unfortunately.
already living well below the poverty level already.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
just so sad that that's what has to be encouraged.
Yeah, and I made
That's
the
what has to be like,
Yeah.
that's an option that someone has to like go. I either have to lie and actually get food,
Mhm.
yeah.
or have a shelter over my head or whatever, or I can be honest with the government. It's none of their business anyways,
Yeah.
who I'm in a relationship with. I'm an individual person.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, yeah, especially even like BC housing. I mean, they still have the policy in place where it's two individual people, but they have to be under one file in order to
Yeah,
qualify
so
for
it's still
housing, just so they can get cheaper
Yeah.
rent. But they're not
Yeah.
going to get cheaper rent because now they're going to get punished
Yeah.
with because of that rule. Plus earnings exemptions, the same thing. So now they're in a worse situation. Yeah.
Well, I made the point on a previous podcast, Brent. I think was the last one that I said, that we have to lie as PWD clients to keep up with the lies of the provincial government, because
Yeah.
this whole clawback thing is basically based on like pink unicorn clawbacks. That is a lie in itself. So we have to lie to keep up with the lies of the provincial government. Unfortunately, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, I really
Yes.
encourage our listeners to tune into the audio link shared on to social media. That interview with Sheila Malcolmson, the Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in BC, was done in the afternoon on November 20th. Yeah,
That
and
was
so
Gloria Macarenko as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
she had the interview in the afternoon. I guess after she met with us.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I wondered why I didn't quite understand why we were getting some hard pushback on some of my posts.
Mhm.
Now I understand why. So now I'm going to actually put a positive forward and say I encourage you all out there to contact and write the minister's office, but also CC that in with Brenda Bailey,
Yes.
David Eby,
Yeah.
and the both Green parties, Jeremy and
I think there's Nikki Sharma too.
Rob and who's Nikki? Oh God, yes, Nikki.
Nikki Sharma,
Yes.
yeah.
And was that the one that was at the press conference with us?
No, no. She's the Attorney General.
Okay, who was the one that was at the press conference with us?
That was the Minister for
Do you have your sheet there with you?
Yeah, she was
Gender, something about gender.
VP. Yeah, she was actually at the which riding is she in? Coquitlam Marville, I think, isn't it? CNDP.
We should put a link on for her as well, because she was very much supportive, simply because it had to give more power to individuals to leave unsafe relationships. And if this doesn't do that, then maybe she's also mistaken.
Yeah.
And we might need her support as well. But here's my point. Let's positively push back, call it for what it is, and say we want complete autonomy for PWD. And that means there's no other, nobody else's income affects their disability, and nobody else's shelter portion affects their shelter portion.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fellow PWD or a non-PWD, because that's full autonomy, and I think that's what they smoke and mirrors were trying to sell.
When I first heard the announcement, I was taking it as a doubling of checks, like a full check for both.
Got it.
So a full 1483 for you, Brent, and a full 1483 for Sonia, and that's unfortunately not what it is, because it's actually not full autonomy. They're still not taking the shelter portion into account.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even with the in a relationship with the non-PWD, their earnings should have nothing to do with you.
No,
I'm
really, exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they should be,
Oh, you're an
full,
individual.
full checks, you know, and
Yeah.
it's individuals in a household.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not, no, we're back in like the 1950s, like the audio clip, what Jessica said.
exactly.
Because yes, I mean, she's right. Yes, it takes more buying power now than what it did, you know, decades ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are having to even barely, I mean, they're not even getting by on, if they even had up to the poverty level. I mean, people
Yes.
with disabilities, I mean, that's the bare minimum, but people with
Yeah.
disabilities, even their expenses are even higher. So we need to get
Yeah.
up to that level. And with the government not even allowing PWD to have two full checks, it's definitely a lot more work that needs to be done to get it up to.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it's $33 million a year. It works out to approximately has been invested into disability income support.
Mhm.
It's about 50,000 people this affects.
Yeah. So that's not nothing. That's not nothing.
It's not nothing. God bless. But when you're nickel and diming,
Yeah.
it's just so oppressive. And it's
Yeah.
just we Brent and Sonia and I had a lovely meeting with the minister Sheila and her people, and we do have some ideas coming up. As I said
Yeah.
before, I always say our first and foremost is fighting for poverty level financial support. That's it. That's my goal to in my advocacy. That's our goal in our advocacy.
I found her name.
Jennifer, yes, Jennifer Blatherwick. Let's get a
Yeah.
hold of her too, because she's a minister of what?
She is, learn more. She was Jennifer Blatherwick is for the Coquitlam Melville.
Yep.
But
But she holds a ministry position. What's that ministry position called?
Oh, you know,
Well, you look for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say our bottom line is every time we go and we talk to the government, whether it's provincial or federal, it's a matter of getting poverty level financial support, $2,400 a month, MBM, market basket measure, or LICO. I don't care. That's what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting for. If they're coming back and fixing little things in the background and this and that and giving us nickels and dimes, sure, we'll take them.
Yeah.
Thank them for them. We'll acknowledge it for them. We'll call it out if it's kind of mislabeled, like this last one's been.
Yeah.
And we'll give some pushback. But our bottom line is always fighting for poverty level financial support. So I encourage everybody to use your voice in support of other advocates in a positive way, online, on social media. Keep your frustration and anger kind of focused on the people that it deserves, but in a positive way, and support each other so we can all have a collective voice instead of having people within our own community diminishing our efforts.
Right. Exactly.
So this is kind of like on social media. I love people popping on and saying, "Hey, this isn't right. This wasn't what it was," but at the same time, we got to call it for what it is, and let's not diminish each other. Let's push each other up. And trust me, to people out there that don't think that we're advocating hard enough, we're just taking a different measure, a different method.
Yeah.
Brent, Sonia, myself, Neil, we want to go to Ottawa. We're at the table. We're getting a method where we get at the table with these people. Instead of calling and using a bullhorn from the front lawn, we're actually trying to get in and actually make a difference from within.
Yeah.
So let's all support one another. We will have some wonderful ideas on how to access money. There is money there. There's money there that Sheila had talked to us about, and we'll have another one of these podcasts as soon as we get some more details on how to access as much as you can each year for the ministry in BC, especially during 5-week check delays.
Yes.
We've talked about those issues with Sheila, especially using every single crisis supplement you can. And this is so important. There's money sitting in crisis supplement that nobody uses because they don't know.
Yep.
Get pushback.
Well, it's stigmatized.
They don't
right?
know the proper wording that needs to be said for the government officials to approve it or not approve it. We're gonna help. We're gonna have some workshops and more about this, about how you can access every single crisis supplement you can. So if we do that, then they have to like start listing and saying, "Hey, listen, we're using the crisis supplement budget up every year. We need to add more money in here." So we have a few ideas for you guys in BC to access the money that's there, including employment and training programs. They say that there's lots of money for employment and training of disabled people, but they don't realize that disabled people can barely ever get a job based on based on discrimination first and foremost. I'm going to say that out there, based on having to change your work expectations to fit the needs for both the worker and the employee and the employer. And if there's so much money sitting there for employment, then let's start using it properly too. So we'll get back to you on how to access that as well. And
I found a name, Jeff, for Jennifer's the Parliamentary Secretary for Gender Equality.
Yes, she's a person that needs to hear the pushback on that, because that's the main focus on the spousal clawback is to actually make each person autonomous and have the financial resources of every other autonomous PWD, so they can leave a relationship if and when need be.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, that show went very quick. There's always so much, that we got to dive into on our next follow-up, for our advocacy on the podcast. Definitely we'll talk about the crisis supplements. I mean, and how to access these crisis supplements. And like you mentioned, I mean, we're going to be having more workshops and diving into how to get these supplements. Definitely we'll be looking into that.
Please, sir, could I have some more? Please, sir.
You know what? Let's use it. Let's beat that horse till it's dead, kind of deal, and let's get it every time. I mean, there's so much paperwork that has to be done. We can also do a workshop on how to use my self-serve. My self-serve. Oh yeah, 11.
Time to clock out, Brent.
Perfect. And we'll come back and we'll talk about crisis supplements, employment and training, money in your pockets to help you, and how to support one another online, and where to focus your frustration, and how best to focus your frustration online and in emails and by phone calls.
Thank you, Jeff, on that. That's a good mic drop right there. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today to PWD Allies podcast. Please subscribe, like, and share. Tune into your favorite podcast where you find it best suited for you. But thank you foremost, Jeff, for coming on today and talking about these very pressing situations that affect people with lived experience on PWD assistance in British Columbia. Look forward to having you on again soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.